The following teacher development program is brought to you by the MultiChoice Africa Foundation.
You win again. Let me get myself some more popcorn.
Okay. Lebogang, what's wrong?
I can't see.
I man, just calm down. It's just a power failure.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Are you all right?
Now I am, yes. I'm not so proud of this, but I really can't stand the dark. At home, I always have my lights on through the night.
What? What does your electricity bill look like?
Sky high, as you can imagine.
What happened to the popcorn?
Oh, they popped out.
Well, did you bring your electricity bill? You? Even if you leave your lights on all night, this is too much. Even bulbs don't use so much electricity. Are you using an electric heater?
What do you think? It's freezing, it's winter.
And how long are you keeping it on?
All the time.
You?
You know how nice it is? You get home after school, you find your house nice and warm.
No, Lebogang, that is not energy-wise. Why don't you just take an extra blanket and put it on the bed and switch off the heater? I'll tell you what. Let's work out how much the different appliances are costing you, then you can decide how to cut corners. Okay, it says here, a typical household uses about 1,600 kilowatt hours per month. The average cost per kilowatt hour is 26 cents. It's written. So what does that add up to?
Okay, 1,600 multiplied by 26 is equal to 41,600.
And?
And what?
You can't work using such huge amounts. You've got to have it in rands and cents.
Oh, I guess I have to divide that by 100 because we have 100 cents in 1 rand. Divided by 100 is equal to 416 rands then.
Okay, now we have to work out the individual costs of appliances. Okay, a 2 kilowatt heater uses 10 kilowatt hours if you leave it on for 5 hours. Then per month, you've got to multiply that with 30 days, which gives you 300 kilowatt hours. Multiply that with 26, please.
Okay. 7,800, and that is 78 rand.
But you're leaving your heater on all the time, so you're using 2 kilowatts times 24 hours, which is 48 kilowatt hours. Multiply that by 30 days.
Okay, 48 multiplied by 30. That's 1,440 kilowatt hours a month, and I multiply that by 26 cents. That's 374 rands 40 cents.
See what a huge difference that is between using your heater selectively and leaving it on all the time. 78 rand versus 374.
Just the thought of it makes me cold.
I'm sure. Look, there's not much I can do about your fear of the dark, but I can certainly help you calculate what the extra lights left on are costing you. Look, in an average household, there might be 25 bulbs burning needlessly.
That sounds ridiculous. I don't think I even have 25 lights in my house.
I I know, but what about outside? I've seen your house lit up like a Christmas tree at night.
Yeah, no Tsotsi can hide on my property.
That may be so, but think about the cost. Say for argument's sake, 8 bulbs are burning that should be switched off. So 800-watt bulbs burning is 800 watts times 5 hours. What's that?
4,000 or 4 kilowatt hours. And I guess I have to multiply that by 30 days again. 120,000 or 120 kilowatt hours, which I have to multiply by 26, and that is equal to 31 rands 20 cents. And that's not too much.
But you could be saving it instead of wasting it. You should be setting an example. It seems kids know more than you about energy consumption and saving.
Mr. Sipho Sithole is teaching a lesson at Mabetla High School on energy in the home. He starts by talking to his learners about electricity and what happens if you use more electricity than you can afford.
As we know, electricity costs. And as such, then sometimes you end up, as a parent, not being able to pay for the electricity you need to use. Then Eskom must then cut off its services to you. Has this happened to someone in this class?
Where I stay in Kiwi, they have the prepaid cards. Most of the people can't pay their prepaid. They can't buy prepaid cards because they're not working. Then they get their electricity cut off. They can't use electricity because they cut them.
Next, Sipho shows the learners how to calculate the cost of the electricity they use in their homes. This will help them plan better how to save electricity in future. The learners get the monthly electricity usage for an average family. They have to calculate how much this family will be billed per month and need to take note that the billing is made up of a fixed monthly cost and a cost per kilowatt hour.
For a month of May, you decide that you go away for a visit to your grannies and your house is left with no occupants. So it means for that month there won't be any electricity usage. Am I right? Yes. Now, how much do you think you'll have to use then for the month? You'll have to pay to Eskom for the month.
60 rand 99 cents.
So it means when you have not used any electricity, as you are contracted to Eskom, you'll have to pay that amount, which is 60 rand 99 cents.
Sipho helps the learners do the calculations for the first month.
We have the electricity consumption as 1,382, that is in kilowatt hour. Then we have, when we look at that table there, we have 26.31 cents, which is the amount payable per unit. The cost for the month of May would have then to say cost is equal to the amount of power used multiplied by the amount of each unit in cents, which is then 1,382 kilowatt hours multiplied by 26.31 cents. The answer is, it's 36,360.42. And what is that in?
It's going to be in cents.
If we have to convert it to rands, then in rands it becomes how much? We have to divide by 100. Now you can work it out with a calculator. It becomes 363.604.2, which is 363 rands. Now, this is the cost only for the consumption, not for the month of May, because we have to still remember the fixed cost which we have to pay every month, which is how much?
60 rand 99 cents.
So we have to recall the 60 rand 99 cents and add it up to this amount. So it comes to 363 plus 60.99, which is, in rands, it becomes 424.5942. We don't get something less than a cent. Then we round it off to just 59 cents. So what we'll have ultimately as the amount we need to pay to Eskom for the month would be 424 rands 59 cents.
Now the learners work out the remainder of the months on their own.
I have rands on my vertical axis and I have the months, the period of the year on the horizontal axis. Now we need to plot the points for costs of certain months. I have put my point here, which is about 44 rand 59 cents, and it's about at that point. That is 50, 65. Remember, it's 65. Yes. 465. This is 50. And 65, it must be just above 50. About, this is 500, this is 450. So, and you.
From the graph, it is clear that the costs are much higher in June, July, and August.
Why do you think the points are very high around June, July, and August?
Because it is very cold and we use heaters, geysers, and stoves.
All right, then let's focus on these appliances which we have here.
On each appliance, there should be printed how many watts that appliance uses. Sipho points out where to find this information. The learners are surprised to find out that the hairdryer uses more watts than the floor polisher.
Which one do you think will use more energy?
It's a polisher because we use it for polishing the floor and it takes a lot of electricity.
Now let's see if she's correct. I read off here from the dryer, it's written 1,200 watts of energy that it uses. And there, on the polisher, I'm reading out here 1,000 watts.
Now he hands out Eskom brochures that indicate the amount of energy used by different household appliances. The learners have to look at the amount of energy an appliance would use if it were on for 5 hours at a time.
So we have, in kilowatts, we have 1.2 kilowatts multiplied by 5 to make it 5 hours. For it to work for 5 hours, and we multiply it by the cost, which is 26.31 cents. And the answer comes to how much? This is 6 times 26.31. Do you have someone worked it out already?
157.86 cents.
And in rands, it's how much? So 1 rand, 58 cents. So this is the cost of running a hairdryer for 5 hours.
The learners do the calculations. Once they've multiplied by the 5 hours, they have to divide by 1,000 to get the units in kilowatt hour. The learners draw a horizontal bar graph on the board indicating the energy consumed by different appliances. It is clear that some appliances use much more than others.
You see, when you have your CD on, how much electricity, how much cost you bringing over to the electricity there, and look at how much the heater uses, how much you have to pay for your heaters there. And now, when your parents calls you every day for leaving your CD on, and she has to sit on the heater for the whole day, who is using much electricity there?
The mother.
Your mother is wasting much electricity. Is she wasting it anyway? Because it's cold, she has to use it. And when you have to boil water using a stove, it takes about 10 to 15 minutes. You can see that the kettle uses much electricity, but in a very short space of time. The stove uses still less electricity, but in a longer period. And that is also wasting electricity.
In the end, the learners have learned some really useful lessons that they will carry home with them.
Here's another light that could be off instead of on. You don't need 2 lights on in the room, Lebogang. Really?
I see the light. Or rather not.
And this has been on the whole day. Are you still not getting it? Electricity is expensive, and there's not an endless supply of it in the world.
We spoke to Bridget Murray of Eskom to find out exactly how electricity is calculated.
What is the unit of how electricity is measured? And kilowatt hour comes in, which is 1,000 units, and that is what is used in an hour.
How can we save energy and money in the home?
Firstly, we've got one appliance in the house that uses a lot of electricity, and that is the geyser. You can save quite a bit of money by covering your geyser with a geyser blanket and doing pipe insulation as well. Our next tip is the refrigerator. When opening the door, try and close it immediately and not open and close the whole time, and make sure that all the rubbers are sealed correctly so it keeps the coolness in and the temperature right. So the electricity consumption will then be constant. And then we've got the compact fluorescent light, which will give South Africa an instant reduce in consumption because it uses 80% less electricity compared to the incandescent light that we know. And you can actually see how the wheel is turning. It's turning very, very slow. That is showing that the amount of electricity it's consuming is very little. Come on. Okay, and you can see the difference there, what it's doing. It's moving faster than the previous one. If you're wanting to find out how much electricity you've used for the month, you would have to have your previous month's reading of what the municipality read when the meter guy came around to read your meter. There will be some numbers there, and what you would then have to do is go to the box and then look at the numbers that are there and take those numbers and your previous numbers on your electricity account and just deduct that, and the difference there would be your electricity consumption for that point in time.
So are you having coffee, or are you just going to carry on making noise about electricity?
Hey, I'll have coffee, thank you. But I just want you to think about the energy you're wasting.
Yeah, I guess I'm going to use the kettle rather than the stove.
Now you're getting it.
Hey, man. Hey.
What's wrong, Lebogang? The boogeyman's coming to get you.